So Tna Impact took place once again in Orlando, Florida. The show starts with Bully Ray coming out onto the stage. Bully Ray says that he'll keep battling as long as he's breathing. He says that he has targeted 6 individuals that will be served wood sandwiches. There are 6 covered tables standing upright on the stage, and he uncovers each one. The 6 are Robert Lashley, Montel Porter, Kenny King, Ethan Carter III, Rockstar Dud, and Dixie Carter. Bully Ray goes to the ring and calls out Montel Porter or whomever. Porter comes out and smirks as he looks at the tables. As he walks down the entranceway, Porter tells Bully Ray that no one's eating wood. Instead, Bully Ray should fight. And Porter says that he can't have a good time without the other members of the Black Brigade, so Kenny King and Robert Lashley come out. The Brigade start closing the gap between themselves and Bully Ray when Ethan Carter III and Rockstar Dud appear in the ring. Ethan clips Bully Ray from behind and pounds him. The Black Brigade join in and it becomes a 4.5-on-1 attack on Bully Ray. Ethan and Dud leave and return with Dud's table. They set up the table as the Brigade continue the bust up. Ethan prepares to slam Bully Ray through the wood when Eric Young, Austin Aries, and the American Wolves come running down to the ring. The good guys quickly turn back Ethan and the Brigade, leaving Rockstar Dud looking like a Muppet as he is manhandled by Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. Aries challenges Porter to a 6-man tag team match. Bully Ray wants the match now and shows Porter what's coming his way. Young serves up Dud to Bully Ray, and the first of the 6 wood sandwiches has been consumed. This was a solid segment that was constructed around Bully's continued quest to put Dixie through the wood. However, the rhetoric is starting to get redundant, especially backed by the fact that Bully Ray has had the opportunities to do it. If it happens, it has to happen at Slammiversary. If it doesn't, then interest may be lost if the teases continue. A main plus here is that Austin Aries' involvement in the battle against the Brigade will ensure his involvement in the main storyline, and he needs to be there, backstage crap or not. So then we have the 6-man tag team match. The Black Brigade versus Austin Aries and the American Wolves. Solid match. The match ends with Robert Lashley whipping Aries into the corner. Lashley charges the corner, but Aries ducks and hits Kenny King with a running drop kick in the opposite corner. Aries charges Lashley in the original corner, but Lashley scoops him up and delivers a running power slam. King tags in Montel Porter, and Porter attempts his drive-by kick on Aries, but Aries sidesteps him and nails him with a discus forearm. Aries positions Porter for the brainbuster, but King hits him from behind. King tries to go for the royal flush, but Aries slips and hits King with a discus forearm. He follows that up with the brainbuster. Instead of going for the pin, Aries tags Davey Richards, who goes to the top rope and rips the bandages from his torso. He comes off with a double foot stomp on King. King rolls out of the ring, but Richards turns and gets knocked by a spear from Lashley. Lashley picks up Richards and holds him up for Porter, who delivers his drive-by kick to get the 3. The winners of the match, the Black Brigade. The match may have come off as discipline-free, courtesy of the referee, but it served as an effective starting point for a battle between these two sides, and as pointed out before, having Austin Aries involved is important, not just for the company, but for him personally and professionally, because he is too damn talented to not be in the main focus. So then we see Magnus and Bram backstage. Bram tells Magnus that words are not getting through to him, so he'll have to go off on someone in order to show him that he needs to be that wild boy again. He also says that Magnus will be at ringside for the match between Bram and his unknown opponent. So then we see Ethan Carter III and Dixie Carter backstage. Ethan drops the news to Dixie that Rockstar Dud got put through the wood. She couldn't give a fuck about Dud and tells Ethan that she's going to confront Montel Porter. And she wants her nephew to be there. So then we have Bram versus Tigre Uno. Bram squashes Tigre, finishing him off with an Impaler DDT. After the match, Bram attempts to use the steel turnbuckle on Tigre, but Magnus stops him and tells Bram that Tigre was too small for him to make this a big deal. Bram says that he doesn't care, he just wants the Wild Boy back. Magnus says that he should show something more worthy of his attention by facing Jeff Willow. Bram looked okay in the ring. While his aggression is solid, it did overshadow his in-ring work, but he can improve on that. The fact that Magnus took control here and made a match for Bram indicates either that he's starting to process what Bram has been telling him, or that he's trying to keep him occupied and off his ass. This does need to be wrapped up soon, though. So then we see Mr. Anderson and Gunner backstage. Anderson wants to know why Gunner is so focused on Sam Shaw, but Gunner thinks that his words can sink into Shaw's brain. It appears that they are prepping for a tag team match. So then we see Brittany and Madison Rayne backstage. Brittany says that she wants Madison to be her partner in a match against the Beautiful People so that she can get back at them. Madison tells her that she won't do it, but she tries to talk Brittany into forgetting about the match, practically ordering her to give her word. Brittany gives her the answer fine in a fuck you sort of way. This would eventually lead into progression finally for Brittany, as we would see this angle play out later with the focus on her. So then we have Mr. Anderson and Gunner versus the Glorified Jobbers. Okay match. Mr. Anderson and Gunner win the match, but the match wasn't just okay as far as the in-ring action, but okay as far as the intent. It felt like the match served as a lead-in to the clear intention, which was the predictable confrontation between the Glorified Jobbers and the Menagerie. The Menagerie come to the ring with their 10-minute introduction, and the incredible effectiveness of a comedic face stable with a carnival motif was such that the Jobbers couldn't move. Oh yes, Rob Terry threw Zema Ion up in the air and watched him come crashing down. But this is a nowhere program that will be nothing but a time waster. We've seen TNA do it with the on-location segments. Now they'll add this. So then we see Gail, Kim, and Brittany backstage. Brittany tells Gail that the Beautiful People are still eating at her and asks her if she will join her in the tag team match. Gail agrees and Brittany gleefully hugs her. We see Dixie Carter and Ethan Carter III come to the ring. Dixie says that she wasn't done jawing with Montel Porter last week, so she tells him to come out, and the Black Brigade come to the ring. Porter tells Dixie that he thought she was done running her mouth, but Dixie says that Bully Ray prevented her from dishing the meat. She tells Porter that he can't function without her, but Porter says that he, King, and Lashley are doing just fine because they have the juice, and that winning the world title from Eric Young at Slammiversary is the extra. Porter wants to know how Dixie can add to that, and she says that she can go to the TNA board of directors and inform them of his administrative abuse. Porter tells her that it's about the cash, and that they can go at each other and see who has the bigger pile. Then Eric Young and Bully Ray come to the ring with weapons. Young tells Porter that wood sandwiches are going to be served to everyone in the ring. Porter tells him that he doesn't buy him being a loon and that the belt will come to him, adding that once that happens, Young can concentrate on other things outside of wrestling and be out for good. Young charges the ring with the pipe, but Bully Ray pulls him back. Porter says that Bully Ray just yaps and that's it. Bully Ray tries to enter the ring with the chair, but Young stops him and reminds him that when the time is right, the time will be right. Porter says that Bully Ray and Eric Young will face each other in a match later in the show, and that Ethan will be the referee. Bully Ray refuses, and Porter threatens termination of his employee services. Bully Ray says that he would rather be fired than fight Young. Dixie says that Bully Ray can't afford to quit because he took her dollars, and she tells him that if he did sign off, no one's going to have balls as big as his. Dixie taunts Bully Ray by calling him a big apple head that couldn't get it done. But Bully Ray tells her that he's wanted in the zone more than her. He once again promises a stack of wood sandwiches for everyone in the ring and then leaves with Young. Why would Dixie Carter antagonize Bully Ray the way that she did and practically talk him out of being fired when this is the same motherfucker that wants to put her through the wood? One would think that Dixie would allow Porter to fire Bully Ray so that it would decrease his chances of serving her that sandwich. Sure, a terminated Bully Ray could still get to Dixie, but why would she make it easier for him by allowing him to remain employed? This was a critical error in logical storytelling in an otherwise decent segment. So then we see Kurt Angle at his house on the recoup tip from his ACL injury, and he thanks everyone for wishing him to return. Angle is likely looking at a possible comeback at Bound for Glory. And hopefully he and Ethan can have the match that both of them need to have. More so Ethan. So then we had the Beautiful People versus Gail, Kim, and Brittany. Decent match. The match ends with Brittany delivering a Russian leg sweep to Velvet Sky. Velvet grabs Brittany's leg, but Brittany kicks her away and makes the tag to Gail. Gail punches Velvet, comes off the ropes, and decks her with a shoulder block. She drops Angelina in the corner and turns back to Velvet. Gail whips her toward the corner, but Velvet reverses the whip. Gail does a float over and comes back with a drop kick to Velvet. She charges the corner again, but Velvet moves out of the way. However, Gail jumps to the middle rope and comes off with a flying body press. She goes for the pin, but Velvet kicks out. Gail goes to her corner, but Brittany tags herself in, comes off the ropes, and attempts the handspring moonsault, but Velvet rolls away. While Stifler and Gale argue, Angelina hits Brittany with the big boot, and Velvet covers her for the 3. The winners of the match, the Beautiful People. This was a situation in which Gale and Brittany teamed together in order to accomplish separate goals. Brittany wanted to get back at the Beautiful People not just for herself, but to please Madison. Gale wanted to use the opportunity to face Angelina and Velvet in order to try to put herself closer to winning the women's title. Since the focus is on Brittany, what will Madison Rain's reaction be to Brittany's hard head? So then we see Eric Young and Bully Ray backstage. Young tells Bully Ray that despite the circumstances, he appreciates facing him in the ring. Bully Ray responds by saying that he can be cool with Young, but he'll expect a title shot if he wins. Basic prep promos. So then we see Brittany still in the ring. She calls out Madison Rain, and Madison comes to the ring. Brittany wants to know why she had to get Gail Kim as her tag team partner instead of the person she wanted. Madison tells Brittany that her business with the Beautiful People includes a past that's too complex for her to understand. Therefore, she doesn't want her involved in it. Brittany says that she can handle it because she just wants to get with Madison in a suck each other down kind of way. Madison pushes off the advances and tells Brittany to stay away from her, but Brittany continues her pussy quest as she completely loses it. Then the Beautiful People come back out. Velvet says that this is how Madison really is, and that she and Angelina take credit for that. Madison tells Angelina that she should be more concerned about the women's championship because their rematch is next week. If TNA is going to push a lesbian storyline, then there will be expectations. Having Brittany push up on Madison and having Madison reject her each time they interact will not work. In order to have progression, Madison would have to give in, and they would have to be a couple and make out on camera and do anything else that could be done within Spike TV's guidelines. The storyline is fine, but guys will expect to see visual results. That's TNA's audience. So then we see Ethan Carr III putting on his referee gear for the main event, quote unquote. The Black Brigade approach him, and Ethan says that he doesn't want to be included in Dixie's beef with Montel Porter. Porter says that he doesn't have a problem with that, and that his issues with Dixie don't have to prevent Ethan from being cool with him. But that's up to Ethan. Kenny King tells Ethan that they're going to be right there to support him. So then we have the quote-unquote main event. Bully Ray versus Eric Young. Christy Hemme is about to announce the participants when Kenny King comes out and replaces her with himself. Naturally, he makes a mockery of the introductions. Why Ethan needed his entrance for the role of special referee defies explanation, but the fuckery quotient was raised when Montel Porter was named guest timekeeper and Robert Lashley was selected as a special enforcer. The quote-unquote match ends with Bully Ray doing his pseudo Dusty Rhodes shtick and attempting to punch Young, but Ethan prevents it. Bully Ray puts a boot to the face, which sends Ethan outside. The Black Brigade hit the ring and go to town on Bully Ray and Young. Then Samoa Joe comes running to the ring and turns back the brigade. As Bully Ray and Young keep Porter and Lashley back, Joe drills Kenny King with the Muscle Buster and hits Porter with the lasers. Show ends. Samoa Joe returns, and the story is clear. He's pissed, and he wants to rock heads. The one specific head being Montel Porter. Joe will be fueled by being denied another shot at the title. Therefore, he'll be fueled by the desire to become champion again. Porter will likely put obstacles in front of him, namely King and Lashley, in order to cut him short before he gets started. For Joe, it starts with Porter and possibly ends with Eric Young and the title. That's the destination. But what happens during the journey? Whatever happens, Joe may want to know this. Killing may eliminate the soul, but winning tortures the mind. I'm Tazmart 2002, and that was my TNA Impact Analysis for May 29th, 2014. If you're listening to me on YouTube, please leave your comments below. Click the like or dislike button. If you subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. If you're listening to me on the Wrestling News Talk Facebook page, you can leave your comments below and click the like button if you like what I've been saying. If you have any questions or comments about TNA or wrestling in general, you can reach me on Twitter, Tazmart 2002. That's TAZMARK 2002. And if your comments exceed the 140, get at me with an email, Tazmart2002@gmail.com. And be sure to watch the TNA Impact review that I do with Chuck P live every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock Eastern Time on Chuck P's YouTube channel. And if we're not on Sunday, be sure to tune in on Monday at the same time. Decent show. Decent show. There's TNA World Champion Eric Young on the Today Show with Hoda Kotb and Kathy Lee Gifford. Kathy Lee introduces him as the TNA World Champion. Young has the world title belt with him and even hands it to Kathy Lee. He tells them that he won the belt last month and it's heavy, and then he stops talking about TNA. Yes, Young was there to promote his new Animal Planet show and not TNA. But why couldn't he have? All he needed was 30 seconds. Was TNA going to be discussed for the entire 3.5-minute interview? No. All he needed was 30 seconds. He could answer the questions. What's TNA? What are they about? Who are some of the wrestlers there? What day, what time does Impact come on? What network does Impact come on? Even if each member of that Today Show demographic would never watch TNA if it meant free shoes, someone that each of them knew would. And all each of them would need would be 30 seconds. I'm Tazmart 2002. Gone.